It is certainly my pleasure to welcome you here this evening for our second Lake Orion High School Wall of Excellence induction ceremony. My name is Steve Hawley, and as principal of the high school, it gives me great pride to present to you today what we really believe is a very educationally relevant project that has created a link between Lake Orion High School excellence of the past, the present, and the future. Tonight you will hear about 4 tremendous Lake Orion High School graduates that all went on to truly excel in their given fields. Through the nomination process and the final selection of tonight's inductees, we were reminded over and over again what a great community and a great school district Lake Orion has been for so many people, and the outstanding talent that this school district has produced. Before we move on, I want to introduce some of our distinguished guests with us tonight, and there are many in the audience, but I'd like to first start by welcoming and also personally thanking the friends and family of tonight's inductees for being here this evening. I'd also like to thank our school board members who are an integral part in putting together this project. We have 2 members with us this evening, Ms. Birgit McQuiston, and Mr. Bill Holt. Thank you. In addition, our Lake Orion Community Schools Administration, we have 2 members of the Administrative Cabinet, Assistant Superintendents Ms. Heidi Mercer and Mr. Rick Arnett. I'd also like to recognize, as the inductees know, Mr. Kyle Medier, our Associate Principal here at the high school, for his diligent work in making this effort a success for the last 2 years. And finally, I think it's also important to mention the 2 young people here with us this evening. These are seniors Madison Eaton and Jason Donovan. They are our leadership co-presidents here at the high school, and they are fine examples of what could possibly be on the wall behind us in coming years. So thank you for being here. So Lake Orion High School has had roughly 125 graduating classes with more than 40,000 people who can proudly call themselves Lake Orion High School alumni. Tonight, we gather here in the heart of Lake Orion High School to honor 4 of those 40,000 alumni for their outstanding accomplishments and achievements in their careers and lives. The goals of the Wall of Excellence are very simple. First, we feel we truly have a duty to honor and recognize our alumni who have gone on to great accomplishment. We also feel that this award fits with synchrony with our school's emphasis on career-focused education. And third, but maybe most importantly, we hope that these awards will motivate and inspire our current students and our future students for the value of hard work, achieving their goals, and taking advantage of the opportunities offered at Lake Orion High School and beyond. Our Wall of Excellence honors select Dragon alumni who have achieved the highest success in their professional careers after leaving our hallowed halls. A committee comprised of administrators, teachers, a board of education member, they decide on this induction class each and every year. The nomination process is open to the public, and we have received many nominations, all of whom fit our call for highly successful Lake Orion High School alum. We received nominations from pioneers in retail, military personnel, artists, designers, teachers, doctors, and even a museum curator. Ultimately, our committee selected these 4 outstanding representatives to lead our 2nd annual Wall of Excellence induction class. We selected these individuals from a broad reach of professional paths to represent the many career paths that our Lake Orion students can pursue. We have individuals representing the worlds of fine arts, science, military, business, and broadcasting. And now, it is my privilege, and it is our privilege, to introduce the 2018 Lake Orion High School Wall of Excellence inductees. Mr. Medier.
All right. Again, thank you everybody for coming tonight. We have great weather for it for the second year in a row. So we're excited for this evening and everything that it'll bring. So I want to get right into the inductees, and we're going to do these in chronological order. So first up, Mr. Greg Bowman. Greg, will you come up here, please? Thank you. Mr. Greg Bowman is from the Lake Orion High School class of 1971. Greg has served as afternoon anchor at WWJ News Radio 950 in Detroit since 1990. Many of you probably listened to him this afternoon. Career highlights include covering the Bill Clinton inaugural celebration in 1993 and the Republican National Convention in 1996. In 2012, he was honored with the Michigan Associated Press Lifetime Achievement Award. Bowman started his radio career at WCBN, the student-run radio station at the University of Michigan. He credits his work on the LOHS student newspaper, yearbook, and speech teacher G. Brett Saunders for inspiring him to pursue the field of communication and journalism. Greg Bowman, class of 1971. And Greg's just going to say a few words at this time.
So I brought my yearbook to prove that I actually did attend not this high school, the one across the street, that it was a one-room school, at that time. When I first heard about this Wall of Fame, I thought someone had told me Hall of Shame is what I was being inducted into. But seriously, it's such an unexpected reward, pleasure. I always told people when I was in school, my only skill was talking, so I had to find some kind of occupation where you could actually get paid for doing that. And I thank my mother, I guess, right, Terry, for that gift of gab that has paid off. And Mr. Saunders, I was hoping he would be here, but I guess he's not. For a while out of high school, you're wondering, hey, is so-and-so still there? Is your old teacher still there, still teaching? And then at some point you say, are they still alive, the teachers that I had? But, I hope that all of you at some point, and some of you young people who are here, have that teacher. Everybody should have that one teacher. For me, it was Mr. Saunders, who inspired us and motivated us. We were, I think, his first class right out of school, so I'm sure he didn't quite know what to expect. But he showed us that learning was fun. We didn't have a whole lot, I'm sure if Mr. Saunders was here, equipment-wise, when we started this broadcast program, we actually made cameras, and by that I mean cardboard cameras to put on tripods. But for us it was an interview, and he told us how to do interviews and how to listen, and the importance of speech in whatever you do, and communicating with people, and it's so important. So I brought the yearbook because he was very prescient, I think, knowing what I might wind up doing, and I also still play acting sometimes. So his inscription in my yearbook in 1971, which was going on 50 years ago, was, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women upon it merely players." I think someone else said that first. Remember, though, that every act is not a comedy, and that every scene has a new star, which is sometimes hard for us to remember. May your, this is something else you can't do when you get old, by the way, is read anything anymore. May your critics always be kind, your reviews favorable, and your fans ardent. G. Brett Saunders. So that's some really good advice, I think, and I thank Lake Orion High School for getting me in my start. I had no idea exactly that I would wind up doing this, and what a great ride it's been, and thank you all for being here, and thank you again for this honor. Thank you very much.
All right, next up, I'd like to introduce James Vincent Ramirez, class of 1986. Excuse me. Come on up, Jimmy. All right. James Jimmy Ramirez achieved the rank of commander in the United States Navy. He received an ROTC scholarship to Florida State University, earning a bachelor's degree and an appointment to Naval Aviator Training. Commander Ramirez served for 29 years piloting the P-3 Orion aircraft. How's that, huh? Orion aircraft? They probably call it the Orion there in the Navy.
Orion
yeah.
today.
Yeah, there you go. Earning a Distinguished Service Medal and 2 Air Medals while completing missions for the Pentagon and NASA. He later flew a jet for actor Tom Cruise. He credits LOHS for the academic preparation he received in Mr. Mahoney's physics class and the leadership capabilities he gained from football and wrestling participation with coaches Frazier and Fagan. James Vincent Ramirez, class of 1986.
Well, inductees, distinguished guests, and Kyle, thank you for having me follow the professional broadcaster. I'm not going to be as light on my feet. I'm really humbled and honored to be part of this distinguished previous class and this class, and among, I know, many more distinguished graduates still to come from Lake Orion High School. It is truly humbling. I just want to recognize my family and friends. My wife, Julie, accompanied me today from California, us. We have Nicole and her family back there, my sister and her fiance, my Aunt Angie and Jerry, and my father and Linda, and my mom and Nancy and Nympha. Oh, where's Brittany? Hey, Brittany. And my niece, Brittany. Thank you for coming. I'd like to talk for 30 minutes on, because it's a team that gets you from start to finish throughout your life for excellence. And everyone who's here today contributed in some way. I'd like to start with my coaches. The leadership and the friendship, mentorship that they gave me, and we were just talking, and I was amazed. They were 23 and 24 years old, and I thought they were, gods, but they were so fantastic to think that they had that type of leadership. At that moment, I can see that the future of Lake Orion is in good hands with their future graduates. So thank you, coaches, for that. It made boot camp very easy after wrestling practice. So it was really nothing. Kelly, my sister, valedictorian, 1984, maybe future inductee. I want to thank you and Sean for they're the ones that nominated me. So I appreciate that. My sister always set the example, always took care of me. Obviously, as a valedictorian, that was a high standard set. I didn't quite get to that standard. My accomplishments came later. But thank you for setting that high standard and always looking out for me. My dad, Joseph, he pushed academics from day one. If I didn't get my homework done, there was nothing else that was to be done. So I owe my focus on academics to him. And my mom, Carol. When I was in elementary school, I had some trouble reading, like in 5th grade. So she would sit down and read a story. I'd read the story. We'd answer the questions together for almost the entire year. And after that, it was smooth sailing. But without that, I might not have made it to where I am today. So thank you so much. And thank you for Julie for keeping the family together during my military deployments. And thank you to my grandparents who aren't here anymore for their mentorship, my Aunt Gloria and Uncle Jim for their support in my military career, my kids who are out in California, and my daughter, special prayer for my daughter and her family in South Carolina right now with battling the hurricane. Once again, I'm truly honored and humbled. Thank you, committee, and Kyle for helping make this happen.
And now it's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Bo Zhao, class of 2000. Come on up, Dr. Zhao. All right, Dr. Zhao is a scientist, an inventor, and a business executive in the oil, gas, and manufacturing industries. Dr. Zhao has achieved 4 United States patents and has been recognized by the Department of Defense, the National Science Foundation, and the Society of Tribologists and Lubrication Engineers. She has studied and conducted research in the United States, England, Sweden, and China. Dr. Zhao earned her Bachelor of Science degree from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, PhD from Northwestern University, and MBA from the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. At Lake Orion High School, she enjoyed choir, theater, and robotics. Dr. Bo Zhao, class of 2000.
Okay, well, I think I'll continue the theme of how we don't do this ourselves. So I grew up in the middle of nowhere, China. It was the type of place where you had to get water from the town spigot, and you had to burn things for fuel for cooking. And today I'm here. And it's not because I did amazing things right and left, right? It's because of my family and the choices they made. It's because of the teachers I had and how they guided me, and friends and mentors along the way as well. And so I'm very humbled and honored by this award and this recognition. And I really have to thank all of those people who really affected and influenced my life, especially my parents, teaching me how to persevere and how it's not about always just having high hopes and goals, but putting one foot in front of the other each day and having grit and making it through whatever obstacle might come your way. So thank you to the school for this award, and of course thank you to everyone who had a part in it, because they all deserve so much credit. Thank you.
All right, we're going forward in time, graduation years, but also more difficult names as we go as well. So, finally, I'd like to introduce Ms. Caroline Schwierstick of the class of 2004. Caroline? Ms. Schwierstick's, I'm probably going to stick with Caroline for most of the speech, career in women's footwear spans both coasts from Coach in New York City to Seychelles in Los Angeles, culminating as design director at Cole Haan. Caroline believes in elegant innovation through thoughtful design and storytelling with a balance of form and function. Caroline graduated with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree from Parsons School of Design in New York City. Her training began, though, at Lake Orion High School, where she thrived in our art classes, receiving multiple Scholastic Gold Key Awards, and participated on the swim and tennis teams. Ms. Caroline Schwierstick, class of 2004. Caroline?
Thank you. First, I just want to thank the school for recognizing me in this surprise honor. Being the most recent graduate, I'm still feeling like I have a lot left to accomplish, so I hope that there can be additions to that plaque in the future. I have to thank my art teacher, Mrs. Wilson, who nominated me for this award, and for fostering and Lake Orion for fostering such an environment of building confidence and pursuing a career in the arts. And then I have to thank my parents and family, brother, mom and dad who are here, for always encouraging me to stick with art and pursue it as a career. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. We are very, very proud at Lake Orion High School of all of our inductees, all of our students, and all of their accomplishments. As a special addition this evening, we'd like to briefly talk a little bit about something that happened this past year that is very special. As you know, high schools thrive on tradition, and Lake Orion has lots of tradition. And artifacts that exemplify tradition become very, very important to us at the school, but also those folks that graduate year after year. Years ago, the dragon to your right, that is just beautifully presented as it is today, stood on top of a sign on M24, directing people down Scripps Road to Lake Orion High School, the old Lake Orion High School. For a long time, that dragon disappeared. And through the efforts of a great many people, it is back with us today. I would like to, there's many people that I could acknowledge in getting it to where it is today, but I'm going to mention Karen Miller. Karen's here today. If you wave, Karen. Where's Karen? There she is. And she probably was the spearhead behind the effort to get it back to the high school. So if you give me one moment, we're going to show a very short video that will tell the story of where it began and how it got to where it rests today.
While Steve is getting that video ready, I just want to acknowledge as well a couple of people that made the Wall of Excellence possible. Many thanks to Mike Macy of Mimic Insurance of Oxford, the Lake Orion Education Foundation, and Dr. Ronald Tripp, who's in attendance tonight. Ron, could you stand? 2017 inductee to the Wall of Excellence for helping make the Wall of Excellence possible. Thank you.
Last officer, we thought that this would be a gift that we would give to Lake Orion High School, and we're just going to look at Rochester High School's brick wall. That's what we thought we were going to do. And Nelson Greer, who's at the Center of Creative Studies, his daughter graduated, he drew up this beautiful sign. And that was the vision, and then all the elements for the sign had been donated, and Mr. Miller helped us bring it together. So like over Christmas break and on weekends, some of the alumni students at that point, because it never got erected until 1982, we brought it together. But along the way, it was Mr. Miller in every step of the way, because we didn't know what we were doing. You know, he helped us with all the elements.
I remember when I had in my garage, and the kid of the boy asked me if I painted, which I did. The first time I had ever used an airbrush, and I painted it once, and I got a little better at it, and I ended up painting it twice. And what it originally ended up, we of course planted it on this position there on M24, and I do remember the 8 bolts that we bolted it down with, and I peed over the threads on the bolt so it would be hard to take off. And somebody ended up taking the bolts off and dropping it down, and it was gone for quite a while.
Well, I was told to basically hold on to this piece 20 years ago. I sandblasted it, primed it, and we set it in our shop, and it's been banging around for 20 years. We loaned it out, I don't know, 5 years ago or so to Dragon on the Lake in hopes that they would paint it and make it pretty and use it. Somehow it came up missing from that one of those first dragons on the lake. So as I was seeing Karen's Facebook post, people were sending me, "Hey, have you seen this dragon?" And I'm like, oh no, I lost the dragon.
And I started this back in 2016 when I posted it. I posted it on my birthday. I'm like, you know what? And then it just grew. I was just
Last year, I seen it in front of the DDA behind some bushes and decided that we got to get this thing back. And we called the DDA, and they didn't know anything about where it came from or what it was, other than that it was given to them by somebody else. So we finally convinced them that it was ours, and we got it back. And after talking with Karen and trying to find more pictures of what it looked like, we decided that we had to get it repainted.
that is good at airbrush painting. And Charlie walked in and said, I know one. I mean, it was everything fit right in place. All of them.
You know, I knew that it was, an older piece, and with, I kind of know the story where it was lost and and found and all that stuff. And so that in itself was pretty amazing, you know. And then after that, I saw it for the first time. It was science class, so it was just bare metal. And the only thing that I had to go from is a picture that they brought the way it was originally. And at that point, we thought we should kind of keep some of the originality to it, so the people that saw it originally would relate to it now. Even though now there's a lot of changes.
What's the total?
Yeah.
Well, you get close up picture, even that, you can see like.
That is going to really emphasize the history of the old high school and the current high school, the alumni and the accomplishments of all of these great people that went to Lake Orion High School over the years. And I think this is the perfect piece to kind of set the tone for all those great things that have happened in the past. So we're really excited to get it up, put some nice shiny lights on it, and let our students see a little bit of our history. So.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty good. Go for it.
It was a class.
Thank you so much. It is a special piece. How many of our Lake Orion folks in the audience from the past remember the dragon up on the sign back in the 80s? Fantastic. So it is a very important piece. We're excited to have it back. I would like to have at this time anyone that had anything to do with its restoration, finding it and returning it to the high school. If you'd gather by the dragon, we're going to get a few pictures with that group. And then I'd also like the inductees. We're going to get a few photos over here by the Wall of Excellence. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. At halftime of the football game this evening, we will do a follow-up presentation. Mr. Medier will gather the 4 inductees near the tunnel, and then I will greet you out on the field, and we have a short, brief PA introduction of each one of the inductees. Thank you again for being here, and as always, go Dragons.